There are now 554,750,000 sport pundits in the world, and they all air their views on Twitter. Every day, 58 million tweets are sent, that's 546,000 every minute, an average of 9,100 per second. We all know it's a phenomenon and it's having an effect on the way we report, watch and engage with sports. We're all now commentators on the beautiful game with a captive audience. How much influence does 140 characters have, and what do the real pundits think? We caught up with Brian Swanson, self-confessed Twitter lover and regular user of the Sky Pad on Sky Sports News.
Twitter has certainly become very popular. A lot of players go onto their accounts, they use it as a means of communicating. You look at players like Joey Barton, for instance, who certainly tweets a lot. And it's often interesting to see what they've got to say, but there will always be a place for proper journalism. What Twitter is very good at is it gives us direct communication with sometimes people who ordinarily might perhaps be a bit camera shy. It offers viewers, it offers supporters the chance of direct access to players. Now clearly, as a journalist, that can only be a good thing. What is interesting to note is that sometimes players, by their own admission, will perhaps finish a game, they'll be still wrapped up in the emotion of the game, send a tweet in an instant. We've had instances when players have gone onto their verified accounts and tweeted something that has subsequently turned out not to be true. We had Jimmy Kebby at Reading in the January transfer window, the French winger who said that he was joining Newcastle, joining so many other French players as part of the French Revolution. Now, there were alarm bells ringing with that because it came out of nowhere, and we very quickly checked it out and found out that actually it was a joke. And Twitter had told us that it was happening, it was fact because he'd said it, and who was to doubt what Jimmy had said. So that's a good example of us having to check our sources and actually get to the bottom of something.
Shock me at Crash Craddock, one talking shit about IPL, jealous get a real job, all you do is bag people, hashtag get a life. This is the tweet that cost Australian batsman David Warner £3,600. Alan Sugar lambasted a fellow Twitterer after his social gaffe, claiming that Tottenham Hotspur were on their way to Europe and the Lions were forced to apologise after its official feed showed an image of an impaled springbok. With Twitter, we now have instant access to our favourite players and our favourite teams. Does having a constant stream of information take away from the enjoyment of watching sport? Bob Morgan is the CEO of SportStream, a leading sports social aggregator and stats machine.
For me, like I said, I think a lot of this is about conversational experiences, which allow you to dip in and dip out. You know, games are fluid, and it depends on really the sport that you're following. So if it's football or hockey or the NBA, where the action's very fluid, you really want to dip in and dip out. You don't want to be trying to manage a game. Yeah. Or some experience that's layered on top of the action. I think there's all kinds of innovation that we're trying to make it easier and easier to follow the best information. So I think there's more and more information coming. Much of what we're doing now is social, but I think there's all kinds of interesting statistical information. Everything from predicting what's going to happen on the next, in the next half or next play, using analytics and sort of analyzing big data. I think it'll get really interesting watching football players wearing sensors and getting information directly from them on the pitch. Did some really fascinating things where the traditional scoring and progressive scoring during a match will get much more advanced and a lot of deep analysis. I think the clubs are going to innovate a lot to make sure that fans want to be there together in the stadium versus watching a giant flat screen on their wall at home.
So Twitter is certainly changing the way we now consume and watch our favourite teams, but what of the future of Twitter and sport? We're already seeing a shift of information we're getting from our sports teams and sports players. The tech is already there to feed more social networks. We'll be able to track a player's movement on the pitch and discuss the exact trajectory of a free kick or a baseball hit. Also, thanks to Twitter, we have more access to sports players and brands. Will this continue, or will we see sport shy away from the social after so many faux pas? One thing's certain is that Twitter isn't going anywhere, and it will continue to shape the way we social pundits engage with our favourite sports. For all the latest tech news, reviews, features and future gazing, keep it locked to T3.com.